"I don't think I'm smart enough to be eccentric," someone once joked. "Don't you have to be some kind of super genius to earn that title?" It's a line that captures the humor and humility that often define real, down-to-earth people, like those we've watched for years on American Pickers. Every long-running television show has its share of ups and downs, and American Pickers is no exception. For more than a decade, it has taken viewers on unforgettable road trips across America's forgotten barns, attics, and backyards, each journey filled with treasure hunting, nostalgia, and hidden gems waiting to be rediscovered. Over time, the show built not just a massive fan base, but also a deep reputation for uncovering pieces of history long lost to dust and time. Yet, behind the gleam of antique signs and vintage motorcycles, the real story has often unfolded far away from the cameras. Fans began to notice changes, controversies, disappearances, and moments of heartbreak that shaped not only the show's direction, but also the personal lives of its cast. Over the years, friendships shifted, relationships frayed, and beloved faces quietly faded from the screen. These behind-the-scenes moments sparked widespread curiosity and fueled countless online discussions about what really happened when the cameras stopped rolling. Though the show continues to evolve, its past tells a complex story of friendships, fallouts, and difficult choices. Today, we're taking a deeper look into those turning points, moments that tested not just the spirit of the show, but also the heart and patience of its longtime frontman, Mike Wolfe. Frank Fritz wasn't just Mike Wolfe's co-host. He was part of the soul of American Pickers. Long before the show began, the two shared a genuine friendship, bonded by their love for forgotten Americana and their mutual respect for history's overlooked treasures. When the series premiered, viewers immediately connected with their chemistry. Mike's enthusiasm and storytelling paired perfectly with Frank's dry humor and steady, grounded nature. Together, they felt authentic and real. But as the years rolled on, something changed. By 2020, loyal fans noticed something odd. Frank was missing. The official story blamed his absence on back surgery, but whispers of deeper troubles soon began to spread. Rumors of alcoholism, personal struggles, and even a falling out between Mike and Frank surfaced online. The tension grew when Frank himself spoke out in interviews, revealing that he hadn't heard from Mike in years. His words carried raw pain and disappointment, and the silence from Mike only fueled speculation. Fans were divided. Some believed Mike was protecting his friend's privacy, while others felt he was distancing himself entirely. The friendship that had once felt so strong now seemed fractured, leaving audiences heartbroken as they watched the emotional unraveling of a beloved duo. Then came tragedy. In 2022, Frank suffered a massive stroke. The news was devastating, not only to those who knew him personally, but also to millions of fans who had followed his journey for years. Mike eventually broke his silence, sharing a deeply emotional message about reconnecting with Frank before his health took a turn for the worse. It was bittersweet, a hint of healing overshadowed by the reality of limited time. When Frank passed away in 2024, it marked the end of an era. Suddenly, all the unspoken words, all the tension and silence melted away. Mike's heartfelt tribute painted a portrait of love, regret, and profound loss. He spoke about their shared adventures, their bond, and the weight of words left unsaid. No matter what had come between them, it was clear their connection had never truly disappeared. Frank's story isn't just about a TV personality leaving a show. It's about how fame, pressure, and personal demons can fracture even the strongest friendships. His absence forever changed the tone of American Pickers. It changed Mike. And it left a void that no new co-host could ever truly replace. For fans, Frank remains a reminder that behind every camera and every collectible lies a real human story, one filled with heart, pain, and authenticity. Behind the scenes of American Pickers, a quiet power struggle has long been brewing, one that fans rarely saw directly but could often sense in subtle ways. From the beginning, Mike Wolfe was determined to keep the show authentic. He wanted to capture the real process of picking, the dirt, the dust, the spontaneous joy of discovering a hidden gem in an old barn. But as the series grew more successful, things began to change. What started as a raw, unscripted adventure began to feel more polished, more structured, and at times too convenient. Television is, after all, a business. When a show becomes a hit, networks take notice. Ratings mean money, and with money comes control. Reports suggest that as American Pickers gained popularity, producers and executives began tightening their grip on the creative process. Scenes became more curated, interactions more rehearsed. The spontaneous energy that once made the show special started to fade. For years, there were quiet rumors that Mike clashed with producers over the direction of the series. He reportedly resisted attempts to script moments or steer the show toward something more commercial. Though these conflicts never spilled into public view, the results were visible: changes in tone, shifts in staff, and a lingering sense that something behind the curtain had shifted. When Frank left, speculation only intensified. Some believed the producers were reshaping the cast to appeal to a younger or more specific audience. Others thought Mike was caught in the middle, torn between staying true to his roots and complying with network demands. Without the original duo's chemistry, the show began relying more heavily on editing and production. What once felt spontaneous now seemed meticulously crafted. Even Mike's on-screen presence appeared more reserved, as if he were walking a fine line drawn by someone else. Though no one involved has ever publicly blamed another, the tension is evident between the frames, between what American Pickers once was and what it has become. Behind the laughter and antiques, there's a constant balancing act, Mike trying to preserve the soul of the show while navigating the corporate realities that keep it alive. The result is a series that still holds pieces of its original heart, but carries the weight of compromise. From the very first season, Danielle Colby stood out as one of the most recognizable figures on American Pickers. With her vibrant tattoos, sharp wit, and fearless attitude, she brought energy and balance to the show. While Mike and Frank hit the road in search of treasures, Danielle held down the fort at antique archaeology, managing the business and uncovering her own finds from behind the counter. She quickly became a fan favorite, not just for her personality, but for the strong, independent energy she brought to the series. However, fame rarely comes without challenges. Over the years, as Danielle's screen time started to decrease, fans began speculating. Some assumed she was on her way out. Others imagined a feud between her and Mike. A few even went as far as blaming her for Frank's exit, accusations that were baseless but spread fast online. Danielle eventually took to social media to clear the air. She assured fans she remained close with Mike and still loved the show, but admitted she was also exploring new creative directions. Beyond television, she was deeply involved in the world of burlesque, fashion, art, and documentary filmmaking. Her honesty struck a chord with fans. She wasn't running from American Pickers. She was simply expanding her horizons. But being outspoken and authentic also made her an easy target. Some viewers criticized her confidence, claiming she was taking over the spotlight, especially after Frank's departure. Yet through it all, Danielle never lost her composure or her dedication. She continued to stand by Mike, support the brand, and represent one of the show's original pillars. Danielle Colby proved that while American Pickers may have changed over the years, the spirit of curiosity, strength, and individuality it was built on still lives on through her presence. In the end, American Pickers isn't just a show about antiques, it's a story about people. About loyalty, ambition, heartbreak, and resilience. From the rise and fall of friendships to the quiet struggles behind the camera, its legacy is built not only on the treasures it found, but on the lives it touched, and sometimes, the ones it lost along the way. She's never pretended to be someone she isn't. From the very beginning, Danielle has been open about her passions, her growth, and her desire to evolve beyond a single label. Her journey has never been about betraying anyone. It's about maturity and self-awareness. In a reality TV world filled with personas and scripted drama, her ability to stay authentic is rare and admirable. Danielle's story isn't defined by controversy or falling out with anyone. Instead, it's about staying grounded while everything around her shifted. Cast changes, evolving fan expectations, and even the overall tone of American Pickers itself. Even as she built her identity beyond the show, Danielle's loyalty to Mike Wolfe and the American Pickers brand has remained steady. She didn't pick sides during tense times, nor did she add to the drama. Instead, she adapted gracefully, reminding everyone that longevity in television doesn't come from staying stagnant. It comes from growing while staying true to yourself. Her continued presence resonates with viewers because it's real. She's never tried to fit into a mold, and that authenticity has always made her stand out. In a series built on the idea of real people finding real treasures, Danielle's grounded personality keeps things compelling, even when the road gets rough. Robbie's approach on camera, more laid back and less quirky, stood in contrast to the unique spark Frank once brought. While Robbie and Mike's comfort with each other was evident, their exchanges lacked the same unpredictable humor that made the original duo so beloved. Then came Jersey John, a picker with deep expertise in vintage motorcycles and Americana. On paper, John was an excellent fit. But television depends on more than expertise. It thrives on chemistry. John's calm, methodical style sometimes clashed with the show's fast-paced energy. Some fans enjoyed the technical depth he brought, while others felt the rhythm between him and Mike was missing. Over time, the conversation about these cast changes became a story in itself. Fan forums, Reddit threads, and social media exploded with debates. Some viewers felt the heart of the show had faded, while others urged patience, arguing that change was inevitable. What became clear, though, was how emotionally invested fans had been in the original lineup. None of the new members had done anything wrong. They simply faced an impossible task, stepping into the shoes of a fan favorite. Replacing Frank wasn't just a matter of casting. It was about maintaining the emotional core that connected millions of fans to the show. In a series built on authenticity, even subtle shifts in tone or energy can feel monumental to its audience. The transition revealed just how fragile American Pickers' ecosystem really was. Chemistry couldn't be manufactured, and emotional connection couldn't be forced. Despite familiar faces like Robbie or knowledgeable ones like John, the effortless magic that once pulled viewers in wasn't easily recreated. While the show continues to evolve, the divide among fans serves as a powerful reminder. Replacing a beloved figure isn't just about filling a role, it's about preserving a feeling. And that's the real challenge for any long-running series. In the midst of all this, another force quietly grew, one far more destructive than any creative dispute: online trolls and relentless public backlash. While most of the drama unfolded on screen, some of the harshest blows came from outside it. As American Pickers' popularity soared, so did the scrutiny. When Frank Fritz suddenly vanished from the show with little explanation, speculation filled the void. Fans created their own stories, and Mike Wolfe became the target of intense criticism. Some labeled him disloyal or manipulative, accusing him of pushing Frank out, unaware of the deeper personal and emotional complexities involved. Behind the scenes, Mike and Frank had been longtime friends, and whatever led to their falling out was likely painful and deeply personal. When Mike finally opened up, especially after Frank's debilitating stroke and later passing, his grief was raw and genuine. He wasn't crafting a PR statement. He was speaking from a place of sorrow, regret, and exhaustion. The loss weighed heavily on him, and so did the online attacks that followed. Mike's relationship with the audience changed after that. In interviews and posts, he began to speak more honestly about the pressures of fame, the constant expectation to smile, perform, and never falter. Every delay in communication, every creative adjustment, became ammunition for online critics. Accusations of nepotism, favoritism, and indifference filled comment sections. Each episode turned into a battleground of opinions, where even Mike's facial expressions were dissected. For someone who built his career around passion and storytelling, that constant judgment was draining. Mike has admitted that staying creative under such scrutiny is incredibly difficult. Fame, he's learned, isn't as glamorous as people imagine. It comes with the weight of everyone else's expectations. That pressure can chip away at morale and mental health, especially when fans forget that behind the camera is a real person with real emotions. Yet through all the noise, Mike has kept going. He's continued to lead American Pickers, guiding it through personal loss, cast transitions, and public criticism. But the unseen pressure, the weight of expectations from millions he's never met, remains one of the hardest burdens to bear. Because ultimately, the show isn't just about antiques or profits. It's about preserving authenticity and staying true to yourself, even when the world won't stop picking you apart. Mike Wolfe carries far more than what viewers see on screen. He's not only the recognizable face of American Pickers, he's the one quietly holding together the entire operation behind it. From managing antique archaeology to dealing with networks and production demands, Mike's had to make choices that weren't always popular but necessary for the show's survival. When Frank left, the spotlight turned on him and emotions ran high. Few realized the complexity of what he was handling, balancing business, friendships, and public perception all at once. Running a hit TV show isn't just about finding treasures. It's about managing people, contracts, and constant evolution while trying to protect the soul of the series. Through every setback and change, Mike has kept the show moving forward, even when doing so meant taking the blame for decisions that weren't entirely his. He's admitted to making mistakes and learning hard lessons along the way. But one thing is clear, Mike never set out to be the villain in anyone's story. His journey reflects the reality of leadership under pressure, steering something beloved through storms of change, loss, and misunderstanding. And while fans have every right to feel attached to the show's legacy, the real story isn't about betrayal, it's about perseverance. It's about a man doing his best to protect something meaningful during one of its toughest chapters. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the real-life drama, evolution, and emotional weight behind American Pickers, remember, what happens off-screen often says more about the people behind the treasures than the treasures themselves. Over the years, American Pickers has become more than just a television show. It's a piece of Americana in its own right. It's about storytelling, connection, and rediscovering forgotten pieces of history hidden in barns, garages, and fields across the country. But behind that familiar theme music and road trip charm, there's a reality few fans ever see. The toll that long-term fame and public expectation can take on real people. Mike Wolfe, Danielle Colby, and even Frank Fritz have all felt the weight of that in different ways. Danielle, in particular, has shown what resilience looks like when the world is watching. She's evolved gracefully, proving that authenticity doesn't mean being stagnant. It means growing while staying true to your core. Her ability to remain grounded while pursuing her own passions like burlesque, art, and philanthropy demonstrates that her identity has always been more than her role on TV. Fans who once saw her solely as the girl from the shop have come to appreciate her as a creator, entrepreneur, and independent voice who stands on her own. Meanwhile, Mike's journey has been about endurance. He's spent years walking the fine line between entertainer and business leader, between creative visionary and lightning rod for criticism. While others might have walked away under the weight of online backlash or creative fatigue, Mike has chosen to keep pushing forward. He continues to explore America's backroads with the same curiosity and excitement that first drew viewers in. But behind every handshake, every laugh, and every negotiation lies the quiet understanding that maintaining that energy takes strength most people will never see. The bond between Mike and Danielle has quietly become one of the show's most stabilizing forces. Through every shakeup, Frank's departure, new cast additions, and constant fan scrutiny, their mutual respect has anchored the show's authenticity. They've shown that American Pickers isn't just about finding antiques. It's about people who live their values, who adapt without losing their integrity. And in an era where so many reality shows thrive on scripted conflict and exaggerated drama, their steady presence feels like a breath of fresh air. Yet, even with their professionalism, the challenges of maintaining a legacy show remain immense. The departure of Frank Fritz marked a turning point that forced everyone, producers, cast, and fans alike, to reckon with what made American Pickers special in the first place. It wasn't just the antiques. It wasn't even the locations. It was the chemistry, the human stories that unfolded with every pick. That emotional connection can't be written into a script or replaced by a new face. It has to be earned. The introduction of new personalities like Robbie Wolfe and Jersey John showed that the show was willing to evolve, but it also highlighted how fragile the balance really is. Every change brought both opportunity and risk. Some viewers appreciated the fresh perspective, while others felt something was missing. And they weren't wrong, because when you build a show on genuine friendship and shared passion, losing one piece of that equation changes everything. Still, despite the ups and downs, American Pickers continues to endure. It remains one of the longest-running reality shows on television, and that's no small feat. It's weathered cast departures, online hate, and constant reinvention, yet somehow, it continues to find its footing. That endurance speaks volumes about its heart. It's not just about nostalgia. It's about survival, adaptation, and the enduring appeal of authenticity in an increasingly artificial world.